Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score!
Ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary. And I said, Stone Cold, why have one when you can have them both?
Swung out and drilled! Deep right center! Away back! Gone for Tony!
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up.
It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Awful.
How is she awful?
Hates freedom.
And now, Any Given Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Ward and Ethan Simpson.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup! Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection!
Hello, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Any Given Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ethan Simpson, sitting here with
Brendan Ward.
And let me tell you what, before we get to the podcast, I heard a rumor online.
What's the rumor?
I heard that you can go to KentStagePosters.com and pick up one of the most fire shirts out there on the market today. Numbers don't lie. The B in numbers is a 6. I think by now you guys should have figured that out. You know where to find that at?
KentStagePosters.com. And I was going to say, I got some really good news for you.
Oh, yeah. What's
It's
that?
not just a rumor.
It's not a rumor?
It's there. It's fact. You got to go to KentStagePosters.com and get your Numbers Don't Lie shirt.
KentStagePosters.com. That's KentStagePosters.com. And we have them in assorted sizes. From medium to extra large, they are $20. And from 2X to 3X, they are $25. Trust me, you're going to want to get them before training camp starts. They're going like hotcakes. I mean, you got to support your team. Hey, you got to support your guy because truly, numbers don't lie.
For sure. Because when he's in the MVP conversation next year, numbers don't lie.
Yep. And you don't want to be left out of this exclusive club. All right. So speaking of numbers don't lie, we're going to move to the NFL. Brendan, what has been going on this week?
Big news happened earlier in the week last week or midweek last week, right after we got off the air. The Steelers end up bringing back longtime quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, whose noodle arm is going to be their starter next year. The details on that, they did a contract extension. So I'm guessing what they did is they were like, look, you're only going to be here a year or two longer. We're supposed to pay you $40 million this year. Why don't we just spread that over 4 years so we can give you 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 or something like that? So they called it an extension, but I can't guarantee that's what happened. It does say that they freed up space in the cap, but the details on that contract are still uncertain.
Yeah, you think Ben has 4 more years in him?
No, I think what they did like a Drew Brees type thing in New Orleans, where New Orleans owed Drew Brees like $40 million in 1 year. And they were like, screw this. Like, Drew Brees is on a long contract.
Gotcha.
But he's going to get paid after he retires those 10.
Yeah.
They just wanted to get – they don't want that cap hit of $40 million in 1 year.
Gotcha. Yeah, and like you said, his noodle arm, his bad knees, you know who that's fantastic for? That's fantastic for the Cleveland Browns because, look, you know what they did today? They got rid of Bud Dupree, or they did not give him the franchise tag like they did last year. Yeah. So he's going to be a free agent. And that also helps the Cleveland Browns with their defense.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
The Cleveland Browns against their defense.
Yeah, Bud Dupree is a big part of that defense. It had to come, right? You're still going to pay Ben Roethlisberger. He's not going to be a cheap option by any means. TJ Watt's money's coming, and getting rid of Dupree probably brings that up. Is probably the reason why they did that. I think it helps the Browns defense because you should look at Bud Dupree. 100% if you're Andrew Berry, take a look at Bud Dupree.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. And that also, I mean, if he comes to the Browns, he plays his old team
twice a
year. And that's going to put a fire in his belly.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to come after Big Ben. He's going to want to come after Connor. He's going to want to come after all those guys.
Because you essentially chose all them over me.
Yeah.
Right? Like that could be the motivation for Bud Dupree. Look, we said it 2 weeks ago when we were here. Anything with linebacker or defensive back at the end of that position, when you start talking about people, is the people you need to look at. Bud Dupree's more of an edge rusher, so depending on where your defense goes next year. The Browns did just cut Adrian Claiborne earlier Tuesday, so early on Tuesday, so they do need more people to rush the passer. Bud Dupree's a big one, but they also have Carl Lawson from Cincinnati, who has the same sort of motivation. You know what I'm saying? He's from that two times a year. At 2 times a year, and this team is on the up and coming. If you take a look at the end of the Steelers' season last year, is there that much hope? Not even looking at it as a Browns fan. Look at it as an NFL analyst. I'm betting Browns before I'm betting Steelers. I might even be betting Bengals before I bet Steelers, just because of how much they fell off. Juju might not be back. I think they already told Connor they're not re-signing him. Obviously, they didn't tag Bud Dupree. And it's probably because they're going to give T.J. Watt Myles Garrett money.
Yeah, I would say T.J. Watt, and they got to do an extension with Minka at some time.
Yeah, and that's how it works, man. You got to pay the recognizable guys. Minka's their guy on that defense, and T.J. Watt's their guy on that defense, and then you start doing fill-ins with veterans who end up hitting free agency, like a Joe Hayden, just some guy that's not the top of the game anymore. I think. But defensive back, linebacker, defensive end now are 3 main free agency. I don't need you to sign another wide receiver. Who you're going to sign Rashard Higgins. He seems to be ready to take any type of deal you're ready to give him. So pull him in there. But speaking of big signings.
Yep.
Dak Prescott finally gets paid. I told you a couple different times I'd be pissed if he got $40 million a year. Luckily, it's gonna seem like that at first, but he didn't.
Yeah. And like I said to you, once the signing went through, in classic Jerry Jones fashion, he waited until the final second,
the day before franchise tag day,
right, less than 24 hours, and then he pulled the trigger. Like, okay.
4 years, $160 million. So if you break that up, that's about $40 million a year. But the thing is it's 126 in guaranteed money. He's gonna make $75 million in year 1 of the contract, $66 million in signing bonuses. The good thing about this is their cap hit is only mid to late 20s, early 30s every year after year 1.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of the smart decision what they did with signing Dak Prescott. I don't know why it took so long. I think it's just Jerry Jones should not be the GM.
Yeah, you need a guy to start thinking critically instead of emotionally, because you start looking at how backwards the Cowboys did it. They did the running back, then they did the wide receiver, then they paid the quarterback. Hell, they paid some linebackers and offensive linemen before they paid the quarterback.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. It reminds me of when Jimmy Haslam thought he was the GM. Like, he had somebody in place, but then he was trying to call the shots, like drafting Johnny Manziel and then taking out Brian Hoyer, which we were having a winning season. And I hate to bring this up. I bring it up the past, dude. Blah, blah, blah. Get it. Got it. Good.
That's your boy. You got to go to bat for him every once in a while.
Yeah, but
especially when the dude Haslam one is over there playing with Josh Gordon in the Fan Control Football League.
Yeah. So, and taking out Hoyer for Manziel was completely Jimmy Haslam's call. And then you saw what happened. And like you said, they're playing in the FCF. Like,
I mean, nothing against the FCF because it really isn't that bad. But when you bring in a guy like Josh Gordon and he immediately has the impact he did, like the other day on a team that's barely won anything in the Zappers, and he had 2 touchdowns over 100 yards and a game win. One of the touchdowns was a game-winning Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I almost messaged you like, Gordon's over here bullying these boys.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he is.
Yeah, I mean, most of the guys are what? They played college ball and then nothing else.
Yeah, there's a few recognizable names I heard, and most of it's just kind of like because of the people that are in charge of the teams and co-own the teams. Like Marshawn Lynch owns a team. Richard Sherman is part owner of a team. There's a lot of people in the WNBA that invested in teams. Bob Menery, I don't know if you know really who he's the guy that like does the commentary and he cusses and he's like, and that freaking ball was up in the air there for 20 freaking minutes. But I think the cool thing about them is like when he does commentary, he can do that because they're on Twitch.
Yeah.
And he can say whatever the heck he wants to say or whatever the hell he wants to say. And so like they have a good like business model. I just want to know what's going to happen when Dwayne Johnson
brings back the XFL.
Launches the XFL next year.
My question is, when that happens, do you think that Dwayne Johnson will, unlike with Oliver Luck, do you think Dwayne Johnson will let Johnny Manziel in after seeing what he's done in the FCF? And I'm not saying that Manziel isn't a good quarterback. I'm just saying he wasn't the right quarterback for the Browns, and if he would have went somewhere else, he'd probably be a backup in the league right now. That's just a fact. I'm not hating. This has nothing to do with the 2014 Browns season or Brian Hoyer or anything like that. I'm just saying, look, he's a good enough quarterback to be I would say he could be a second string or a filler for different teams hopping around.
Yeah. The dude's talent is there. The work ethic isn't. That was the problem. Johnny Manziel, like you said, probably if he did all the right shit, he'd be a backup or maybe a journeyman or something like that that can figure it out. But he just didn't do the work. He got behind, and whatever happened. But yeah, for what you were asking, the Dwayne Johnson or The Rock, I'm going to start calling him that. I'm sick of saying his full name. I think he would because I think Oliver Luck was probably stuck in like an older way of thinking.
Right. He was thinking like, this is going to be – he was thinking like NFL. It's going to be like the NFL. It's like, dude, this is the XFL.
Yeah, like
this is Vince McMahon we're talking about.
That's what you're basically building off of McMahon's legacy, and no better person to do it than The Rock, who is who he is today because of Vince McMahon and that.
And they're boys.
Yeah, and they're boys, and it's still like it. I'll say this: anything The Rock touches turns to gold, man. Movies. I
don't know how good did Central Intelligence do.
I mean. Like
it wasn't that bad of a movie, but it was just kind of.
He's not by all means the biggest box office draw there is. I'm talking like some of the companies he does. He's doing that new energy drink. I think that'll do really well. His tequila's doing fantastic. So like, there's a lot of things that The Rock puts his mind to and pulls gold out of him. But
who doesn't? What celebrity doesn't have a tequila company? I mean, seriously, like Kendall Jenner.
It's the
Kendall Jenner, LeBron James, 50 Cent. No, he's got vodka.
I like to think all of these celebrities that keep doing this have that one friend that's on the side. You know, their turtle.
Right.
That's bringing them these random, like, who brought LeBron Lobo's? No, he's doing tequila, right?
Yeah,
Lobo's tequila. Yeah, who brought that to him? Terramana for The Rock, he said he's something he's always wanted to do, but I feel like somebody brought that to him too. But why? You said Kendall Jenner has any sort of alcohol? Why?
She has a vodka or a tequila, which doesn't make sense. If you're thinking about it, more women would buy Kendall Jenner vodka. Why would she go into tequila? Go into vodka.
Yeah,
because who are her number one fans?
Kids.
Well,
younger people.
Her demographic.
Women.
There
Is that what you're trying to say, women?
I didn't want to specify. I didn't want to.
So you wanted me to do
gender,
it?
Yeah.
You wanted me to do it? Come on.
I was tossing that one to you.
I'm just. But you're right. Like, vodka is more of a woman's drink. Not too generalized, but it is. It's the stereotype on it. But we don't stereotype here. I was thinking, like, why at all is she an alcohol? Because not only is it women, which women drink, I think it's younger women. It's 16 to 24 rather than 30 to people who are actually going to get into drinking like that.
Yeah, but if you think about it, a lot of her fans are college age and older, a little older than that. Like you said, 16 to 24. So minus the 2 at the bottom.
Yeah.
18 to 24.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you should drink before you are 21.
Don't drink before you were 21 until the law changes to 18 because that's where it should be in the
Always
first
drink
place.
responsibly. But I'm just saying that you see your fan base, you would think if she got a vodka, it would go insane more than a tequila. And I'm not saying that girls don't drink tequila. I'm just saying vodka would be the right move for her.
It takes a special person to drink tequila. The girl, guy, whatever. Tequila's hard, man. That's a big one. It's tough to make it through a night.
Why do you
of
think
tequila.
you lick the salt, you take a shot, and
you gotta
down on the line?
You got to get yourself ready for it because it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts, man.
Margaritas are fine.
Margaritas are fine because
It's a different
it's mixed
story.
in there. It's got a little bit of flavor to it. You can get through a bunch of those, but the next morning it's terrible.
It's all that sugar and stuff.
Tequila will truly make you take your clothes off.
Okay, so we got a little sidetracked there talking about FCF, talking about Kendall Jenner's tequila. So do you think they're overpaying Dak Prescott?
If it would have been $40 million a year, then I would say so, yes, because you're setting the market at that point. The fact that he's gonna get paid one big chunk of it, and then his signing bonuses aren't even cap hit, that's another 60 point of it. You're getting the 126 guaranteed, and you're splitting the rest up.
Yeah,
Like it's nothing. Like it's really not. Because like I said, the first year it's going to be terrible. I'm not sure who the hell they're going to sign in free agency this year, or if they're even going to have money to do it. But after the first year, it's going to be an open market for the Cowboys.
yeah. Here's my thing. I would have used that franchise tag this year on him, and I mean he's still getting 36.5 million on the franchise tag.
Yeah.
So I would use the franchise tag this year just to see how his ankle's going to hold up for this year, and then if he plays phenomenal, like I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback. I don't like everybody saying he's a top 5 quarterback. That's a little absurd. But he's a top 10 quarterback.
I think top 10. I think he was on his way to the MVP last year before he got hurt.
Yeah, and like I'm saying, I would just hold off on that big contract until next year to see how he plays this year, how his ankle's holding up, and if he does that, boom, the second it's over, give him that big contract.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, a top 10 quarterback can win you a Super Bowl. The problem with the Cowboys is there's so much money in all the other assets. Where do you fill it in on defense? Leighton Vander Esch is going to get paid at some point if he could stay on the field. You've got a bunch of corners that are really unknown. I mean, I know them, but I'm a fan. But could you name me one Cowboys corner?
No,
One Cowboys safety?
probably, but no.
Because none of
Not
them
off the
have
top of my head.
none of them have they're decent, but none of them are setting the world on fire. Kayvon Frazier, Xavier Woods, you can all Chidobe Awuzie, people know his name because it's a nuts name and he's been in the league for a little while. The last recognizable name for the Cowboys in their defensive secondary is Byron Jones, and he's currently playing in Miami and shitting the bed on his big deal. So, and then they've got this linebacker core. I'm sick of people calling Jalen Smith the fastest linebacker in the league. You can't even catch Lamar Jackson, but but we won't get into that. There's just money, and a lot of money between 3 assets for them. Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dak Prescott now make up, I'd say, probably 70% of the payroll. You add in DeMarcus Lawrence's $90 million, and you're probably at 85-90% of your payroll. And I know you got some people that are on there in small deals, but Antoine Woods, depending on what happens with his legal issues, he's going to need to get paid at some point. Tyrone Crawford isn't going to continue to play for pennies on the dollar. There's just a lot of things that I just don't know where this team's going to go. Because if Dak isn't the answer and he can't single-handedly take you to a Super Bowl, which he hasn't yet, so there you go.
His older brother claimed on Twitter or Instagram yesterday that a picture of those two hugging after he got the call.
Yeah.
Surprised him by getting the call, like his. Okay, whatever. It's all for show. It's show business.
Couple weeks ago, he was tweeting how he hated him.
Yeah, but he was like, "Oh, next thing we're taking, he's taking the Cowboys to the Super Bowl." Blah blah blah. But side note to what we were talking about, Kendall Jenner's tequila is called 818 Tequila, and after she announced it, she got a lot of backlash. People saying that she should not be making tequila because it is cultural appropriation.
Oh, I mean,
And she is taking advantage of all the let's see here. It was
she's taking advantage of.
people said somebody who is a Mexican tequila maker said this is a joke for real tequila makers. What Kendall did was literally making a bottle, found a bigger brand that bottles her tequila. I don't know. People are calling her out saying that the Mexican and Latin communities aren't so keen on the launch, claiming that the product is exploiting agave farmers.
Which is primarily in Central America.
Yeah, so they're just saying that she's exploiting them, but wouldn't that be creating more jobs if more people are making tequila? I don't know.
I
See, I don't
it
know.
could
That's
just,
not
but I mean, it could be what you're saying, but I think it's a lot of times it's really just there's a lot of people that hate that family.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the whole reason why, because you don't see all these other guys
Yeah, like
getting the crap like that.
I know The Rock is Samoan, but
Yeah.
like he's not doing the same thing. Like
I don't know. That's just the whole thing. I just read that. I had to look it up when we were talking.
Unless
but-
there's a story where like she's paying these farmers pennies on the dollar, I really don't care that she has a tequila company. I think it's weird that a model is doing a tequila company, but I get that she's got a platform and she can use it.
like I said, it would be the smart thing would be to get into vodka.
The smart thing is what her sister did and got into beauty products.
I think she's in beauty products. I don't know. See, I don't give a
Yeah,
rat's
like
ass
I
about
could
that
care
family.
less about the whole family.
I'm
but-
just telling you because we were talking about these celebrities with this. All right, so moving on.
Let's get into this.
On Sunday, the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Kyle Larson won the race. A lot of people were upset that Kyle Larson had won the race just due to the fact that he had used a racial slur last year during one of the what is it, like e-races
Yeah,
or whatever.
they were doing those like electronic. They had the cars like it was Wii racing or something at home.
So a lot of people were calling out Kyle Larson, and look, I'm not defending him. Let me just
Yeah,
say this
no.
right now. I'm not defending what he did or what he said. Let me say this right now. But, and everybody hates when somebody says but he did his year-long suspension. He did all of those sensitivity training and the classes, and he went through all that. He didn't jump through the hoops. He did what he had to do to get back into racing. He sat down. He spoke with multiple civil rights leaders and stuff like that, and people in the
learned.
communities, and he educated himself, and he came back, and he spoke, even after that, he spoke with Bubba Wallace. After he won the race, there's a picture of him and Bubba Wallace dapping up on Victory Lane, and Bubba giving him a hug. Look, I'm not saying what he did and what he said was right at all. I'm not defending what he said.
Terrible. He deserved the suspension. And
What I'm saying is he recognized the mistake that he made. He corrected it. He did his time. He has proven that he's even said that it was the dumbest mistake that he's ever made in his life, saying that. And he did his time and whatnot, and he came back and he won the race, and he deserved to win that race.
yeah, and it's like you said, he educated. And by all means, if he's back in, he's back in. He educated himself. He took his lumps. He moved on. He wins the Pennzoil 400. I personally missed the race. We talked about that. But I mean, you start looking at the people behind him, and And then I read the story of the race. He gets the stage 2 win, and then he loses his position, drops back quite a few spots, and then by lap, there were 52 laps to go in the rest of the race, and he took the lead and held it the rest of the race, despite the fact that he was talking about how there were so many cautions and things like that, that he loved how they did the restarts and stuff like that. I'm not taking away a win from anybody because of what they did last year, because I truly believe in second chances, and I know I'm not the right person to forgive somebody about that, and I'm not asking you to. I'm not even mad at the people that are outraged, because I understand why you are, but you can't take away that he won. It's like Myers Leonard. I don't know if you've seen that story.
Possibly.
He was streaming Call of Duty over the weekend and used
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, he used a very very bad word.
I was gonna bring that up when we got to NBA.
Yeah, we'll just bring it up kind of in the same situation.
The
he
NBA
let his guard down.
The NBA is currently. Let me see. My apologies. They said the NBA is currently investigating Heat center Myles Leonard's use of an anti-Semitic slur during a video game live stream.
The bad thing is for him, he thought about it. Because I don't know if you watch, like, go and find the video. He was talking, and then he was thinking of a word to say. He got caught up. He was mad. He was thinking of something to call somebody, and then he said it.
Yeah, that's
so his took a lot of thought into his, and people are ripping him. A big photo that's circling around right now for him is the fact that when the league came back this year, he was the only person standing up on the sideline during the national anthem. And people kind of like let that be, but you never know. But moving on from that, let's get into this week's race.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so at the start of the third stage, my guy, Chase Elliott, did you see that? He spins out, does a complete 360, doesn't hit anybody, and then just goes straight back into racing. It was like, something you would see in Talladega Nights.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I read about it. I heard that he spun out and dropped like 22nd or something like that.
Here you go. Here's
and then, all right, let me watch this while I'm talking. Just kind of boom, 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 boom. Look at him.
And then just right back into racing, like nothing happened.
They said he dropped to like 23 and then ended up finishing like 12 or 13. So that's pretty impressive, especially that late in the race. I think it said like there was like 70, 80 laps to go at that point to get back into the race like that. And that's what we've been preaching, right? About racing. Even if your guy's sitting at 15th, 100 laps into the race, there's still 160 to go, and he could be at first place by the end of that race. Hell, even 20. I've seen people do it. Like you said, he dropped down to 23 and it made up 10 spaces in 60 laps. It happens. Racing's fantastic. I'm obviously I'm a fan of a new person now.
There you go.
So here we are. But the next race is this weekend. We got another chance. 312 laps at the Instacart 500 at Phoenix Speedway in Avondale, Arizona.
So I just wanted to say, for all you race fans that are going out to Phoenix Speedway, let me tell you what, put your sunscreen on when you're in the car before you go out. In 2015, when I went to the race, I made the mistake of not putting on my sunscreen until about 45 minutes of being in the desert sun. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I was completely red. I couldn't sleep. And I had sunglasses sunburn. And for the people that want to go sit on Rattlesnake Hill, be careful. The rattlesnakes are starting to wake up this time of year, and there's a reason why they call it Rattlesnake Hill.
Oh, right. Like, and I mean, if you are going to be over there in Avondale, take a trip down the road. I don't know how far it is to Goodyear. Catch some baseball. Can't be a bad situation.
Yeah, and let me tell you what, when you're out, when you go into park, you're just parking in the desert.
Yeah.
Because it's in the middle of the desert. And let me tell you what, the tailgating out there, fantastic. Almost everybody there when we were there was super nice. After the race, we were trying to buy some beers. We drank all our beers before the tailgate, or tailgating and whatnot. And these guys, a couple cars down, were like, yeah, like $10 for a beer. So we're like, oh, fuck you, man.
Yeah, no.
So we walked down, and these other guys were like, dude, have some beers, bro. You guys want some Fireball? Like, we were
Yeah,
just like, yeah. Like,
I can't believe somebody was charging for a beer in a spot where people are tailgating, which is
Right.
beer all over the place. Like,
yeah, like a couple cars down, like 10 cars down. These guys were like, dude, come down here, bro. Like,
well, and that's what I'm saying. Like any situation like that, you're always gonna find a guy that has too much.
right?
beer.
That's what they were like, and like my brother was even like, here, you want some money? And they're like, dude,
Yeah,
no,
we
man,
got
like,
plenty. Like,
dude, we just watched an amazing race. Like,
yeah.
come on,
Well,
and
let's
not
have some
the
fun.
Amazing Race on CBS.
Yeah, not that one, but like, come on. But I got on here. Sunday's IndyCar 500 is the 50th race hosted by Phoenix Raceway in the series history. The 1 mile low bank tri-oval located in Avondale, like I said, is an asphalt racing surfaces with 8 degrees of banking, so not quite as much as Las Vegas over there. 11 degrees in turns 3 and 4, and 3 degrees on the backstretch. First opened in 1964. Cup Series first race winner Alan Kulwicki in the inaugural race. Last year's winner was Joey Logano, who had went back to back because he had won in Vegas last year and then came back and won in Arizona the weekend after.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to who gets that, because that track, like you were saying, it's 1 mile. It's not like the hardest speedway or whatnot, but it's got the three turns on it, so it's kind of a strange shape. But once those cars hit that straightaway, I mean, like any straightaway, on this, once they come out, like where we were standing at the grandstands, we were standing like up against the fence, which probably wasn't the smartest idea, but hey, we were at a NASCAR race. We weren't wearing our earplugs. My ears were ringing after that race like crazy. But yeah, it's just because they come off of the pit, and then where we were standing, it's just you're getting pelted with the rubber coming off.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so when I took off my glasses, not only did I have sunburn, but I also just had rubber all over my face.
Just black pellets sitting all over you.
It's a fun racetrack. I mean, the only real racetrack I've been to, but it's a fun time. Who do you have winning this one?
Honestly, I've seen Kozlowski, man, is who I'm gonna pick. Just he's been so close. It was kind of like Chase Elliott was earlier in the year last year, where he's so close. Kozlowski's finished I believe twice now, and has finished in the top 5 a number of times, a handful of times. I don't think he's finished below top 5 this year yet. So like he's due. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Brad Kozlowski.
Okay. Yeah. Excuse me.
Big yawn.
Ooh, sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I want to ride with Elliott, but I think Kozlowski is due.
Right? Yeah. It just seems like that 2 car is ready to win a race.
Yeah, I would say Kozlowski or Hamlin. Both of them seem like
they're right there every single week. One of them needs to break through.
Right. In the last 2 races, it's been Hamlin and Truex, who are teammates, and they're just going neck to neck the whole time.
Yeah.
Getting in front of each other. And I think Hamlin's starting to get pretty pissed off.
Oh, that he hasn't broke it yet?
Well,
Right.
that and his teammates, the one who's just
Stopping him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, I get that we're teammates and we're all in this together, but this really is an individual sport at the heart of it.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I said 3 turns. I meant 4. I don't know why I said 3. I was thinking of
3.
What?
I mean, there's some that only have 3.
I was thinking of another track.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from NASCAR to basketball, the NBA All-Star Game and the Skills Challenge happened this past Sunday. The Skills Challenge winner was Pacers' Domantas Sabonis. The dunk contest winner was Aferny Simmons. 3-point, obviously Stephen Curry. All-Star Game. Team LeBron beats Team Durant 170 to 150, and the MVP is the Greek Freak. I don't like that Steph Curry is in the 3-point contest. I think he shouldn't be in the 3-point contest, just like why LeBron has never done the dunk contest.
I mean, it is. It's because he that's his thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Once you're a star, it's the reason, like, Zion's not doing the dunk contest. Why would he?
Yeah,
we know what he could do on a court. We see it in game. He is the only active player to win twice at this point. But, like, what else would you expect?
Yeah,
Like,
what's the point?
Like, we know who this kid is. Like, there's no denying. The argument we have about Steph Curry is he's not as great as everyone. Like, stop putting him in your top 10, please. Like, stop.
Hey, doing this dumb shit.
Yeah, like the cockiness gets me in you too, because he is. How's the bottom of the West right now, Steph?
Right, chewing on his mouth.
How is it to be the Knicks right now, where you're all of a sudden getting every single star? I got a notification yesterday that Golden State Warriors are interested in Victor Oladipo. Okay, like, you know who they start saying that shit about? Like, the Knicks have been that team who are supposed to get everybody for the last 10 years. Now it's the Warriors. So look where you're headed down. I thought it was funny that coming out of Sunday night, it was will Steph team up with LeBron? Which, by all means, if it happens, it happens. But, like,
that would never happen. I mean, they can do one night All-Star game for the cameras, but I don't think that LeBron could deal with Steph Curry in the locker room.
I think there'd be a lot of, like, I don't think he mixes that well with LeBron.
No.
The locker room, I think they're buddies, man. Like, if Draymond's a buddy with LeBron, I think Steph probably is too. So, like, the locker room thing, yeah, could be because of how cocky he is. I think on the court is where it would not work that well.
There's a difference between being buddies with somebody outside of the arena and outside of the clubhouse than on the court and in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and that's why I said I get what you're saying, because the attitude is a lot different in that clubhouse.
I could see if they team up at one point in the season, LeBron just slapping the shit out of
because he's
Steph Curry.
He's not Durant. He's not. If Steph wants to be number one, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? It's LeBron. But Team LeBron, LeBron has captained the last 4 All-Star games since they started this new format where it's no longer East versus West, and he's 4-0, never lost, which is not really that big of an accomplishment. He just drafted a good team, I guess.
It's not even a real game.
Yeah, and I mean, it was 100-80 at halftime. Like, there's games that in the regular season that people don't even score 100. So don't tell me. And at a point it was 157-150, and Dame Lillard and Steph Curry were just taking turns at half court shots to see who would hit a 3-pointer to close the game out. So like you said, it's an all-star game, but honestly, with All-Star Weekend in the NBA, just give me the competitions. Give me the skills competition, the dunk contest, and the 3-point contest. I don't even need the game.
Yeah, I didn't even watch any of those. Like I said, I was watching the race. But yeah, with this, there's only one All-Star game that matters where people actually play, and that's the MLB All-Star game, because the All-Star game decides who gets home field advantage in the World Series.
It's the only thing that you get an incentive that's worth the effort of a game that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you see like the Pro Bowl, these guys don't want to get hurt. They're in either Hawaii or Orlando or wherever, and they're just messing around.
Yeah,
they're just having fun.
The Pro Bowl is, like, I don't know if you'll get rid of it, because there is people that like that trip and like having fun, but it's definitely not unless it means something. It's impossible. The problem with the NFL's Pro Bowl is you can't make it mean anything. It's the week before the Super Bowl. You can't make it mean home field or the winner's the home team, because the 2 Super Bowl teams don't even play in the game. We're losing our camera halfway through. Good thing we only have like 15 minutes left.
And the camera just went.
So we'll just kind of add on to that at the end of the video. No big deal. You want to get into baseball?
Yeah.
I can't talk about an All-Star game that we watched very little of for another 10 minutes. But baseball, we have a couple things, and then this day in sports history.
All right, so in baseball, here, I'm just gonna do this since you can't really see it, but I'm taking the mic down.
I'm gonna sit back and everything.
Right. All right, so In baseball, Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes both had to be removed from the team and put into quarantine together. I believe they had to share the same hotel room. I think they were in quarantine in the same room or something like that.
Possibly.
But, they broke COVID protocols after Franmil went and got a haircut, and then him and Jose went out to have dinner at indoor dining, which you want to explain why this is a problem?
So like when it first happened, I thought they were just kind of fucking up again, kind of like Reyes did last year around 4th of July. But turns out that the MLB had sent a protocol memo out that on March 1st you were allowed to go out and dine at restaurants and be part of the community as long as you were considered staying safe, which their definition of staying safe is probably a different definition than ours. You know what I'm saying? They have to do a little extra. But the thing is that memo came out, and then a day before the end of the month last month, they had sent out another memo to the officials of the Indians and the rest of any other Major League Baseball team, I guess I should say, that you can't. So they kind of just got caught up in the fact that date changed, and maybe they didn't get communicated with that date changed. So it really is kind of throwing things off a little bit. I think Jose Ramirez is a guy that likes to have spring training, especially so he could start hot when the regular season comes. And Franmil is still young and continuing to grow, especially now into where he's going to be one of those top bats in that lineup with no Santana or Lindor, and Reyes may end up being your first baseman, or he may end up playing outfield, and he's now losing time. So it's a big deal. But it's on the MLB is what we're trying to say here for having those. And I get protocols are going to change, dates are going to change, things like that. But we need to ensure that like communication is all the same. And I know a lot of that could be on Antonetti or Francona, but Francona seemed to think that like even he didn't really understand it.
Well, what happened was, so they went out to dinner and whatnot. They did that, and then the other thing came in. So Jose and Franmil, they reported that they were out.
Yeah,
they did the responsible thing.
Yeah, they basically told on themselves.
Yeah, unlike Plesac and Clevenger last year that lied.
Who waited until they got caught and then lied to the team.
And then they were on the plane.
Yeah.
And they were just opening up baseball cards, which is ridiculous. But these guys did the responsible thing. They went straight to the organization and the MLB and were like, hey, we did this and this. We thought it was okay. Then the other memo came. And so that's what Terry Francona said on his press conference after that came out. He said, look, they came to us and told us what happened. And then, so they got cleared yesterday.
Did they?
Or today. Today they got cleared.
That's good.
Because they had 2 negatives.
Which is how it should be. The NBA did it very well in the bubble last year.
Yeah, and so Terry Francona came out, and he even said, he was like, it's almost like a moving target for the COVID protocol because they keep changing it.
Yeah, how much changes is the biggest thing. Like, you can't continue to send people over a 5-page document of different protocols and expect them to know every single one when you're changing it weekly. You can't do that. Let's get a protocol. Let's get it in tow and be like, look, we're going to reevaluate this every 30 days. Kind of like the government did. I know people felt like the government was kind of dicking us around about shutdowns and stuff like that. And they were. But, there's got to be that evaluation period, or people need that kind of, meshing period with those protocols. If you're changing them weekly, how can anyone ever know what exactly they need to do to make sure it's going on? So, and that's what Francona was saying about the moving target.
Yeah, and you could tell from his press conference, he wasn't upset. He wasn't angry at the guys because the guys did the right thing. Yeah. They thought they were doing the right thing at first, and then they read this thing and they were like, "Oh, I guess we did the wrong thing." Hey, coach, hey Antonetti, hey, MLB PA, whatever. We screwed up. Or not really screwed up. We thought we were doing the right thing, and I guess we weren't. So they're both back with the team, which is good. Happy that they are healthy. 2 good guys, some of our best players on the team. Speaking of baseball, we have 3 weeks to go until the start of the regular season. But after a few exhibition games, Brendan, where do you feel the Indians will stand in the AL Central?
I think they have a shot. I don't think it's the best shot of anybody in the Central. I think that our outfielders are going to surprise us pleasantly. I know that's kind of the biggest question mark about the Indians right now. That in the lineup and who's going to hit. I think Jimenez, who they got from New York, has looked pretty good. So there's some young guys that are coming in terms of trades, in the Lindor trade, that have looked pretty good in spring training. The outfielders have been surprisingly better than I thought they would be in spring training. Bieber will find his way. I'm confident in that. I think the biggest thing is, how is this going to shake out in terms of a 4 or 5 man rotation? And then I guess it would probably be, to me, really who's your everyday guys, and how many do you have? Are you full committee with the outfield, or are you committee at shortstop? Are you committee at second base? Is Jose going to play shortstop and somebody else going to play third base?
I don't think so.
Or I think Cesar Hernandez can play shortstop. Is he going to do that?
He's going to be in second.
And that's what I'm like. So if I had to guess, Yu Chang is probably going to be your day one shortstop, right?
I was going to say it'd probably be Yu Chang and Jimenez.
Yeah, Yu Chang and Jimenez.
Sorry.
However you say it. It's with a G, so I get it.
I always see his name and I instantly think of Chris Jimenez, the catcher from a few years ago. I don't know why.
Yeah. And then you start looking at like the guys who came back, and you've got those like 3 or 4 or 5 guys that you can count on. Probably you got Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, and probably Roberto Perez in your lineup that you can really feel like you can count on. Oh, and Hernandez, because I just brought him up and I forgot because I said 4 or 5. And those guys, and then you have your pitching staff who you expect to be pretty good, no matter whether you go with a 4-man rotation or a 5-man rotation. Though you expect those guys to keep you in games. I think it's going to be a lot of what the downfall was last year. There's going to be a lot of 1-run and 2-run victories, because that's how they're living.
Yeah, look for them to be the second in the AL Central. I'll say it. I know that the White Sox have added some power and stuff to the lineup, but I wouldn't quite believe the hype, because Terry Francona knows what he's doing with a lineup like this. He's been doing it his whole career. So I'd say look for the Indians to be second in the AL Central, and in the AL, I say look for them to just at least be a wild card team.
Yeah, I think they'll be one of the wild card teams. But I get what you're saying. I think there's 3 teams at the top of that Central that can realistically win it. The White Sox, because they've added quite a few people. The Twins won it last year, and then the Indians, who have the pitching staff to win a World Series. They just need some run support.
Yeah, and then obviously you have the Royals and Tigers down at the bottom. I think they're going to be there, but the Royals only really made a few moves this offseason. One of them was stealing Carlos Santana, but I think the Indians let him go just because they know that we have Bobby Bradley in AAA, and he's ready. He's itching to come up, and then we have Franmil as well. I think once I don't think they're going to bring Bobby Bradley up at the beginning of the season, but look for him to come up before the AL or the All-Star game.
Oh yeah, Bradley will be up for sure. Some way before, I think, the midpoint, but probably not day one. But I agree with you. It's they let Santana go probably because it is we need to figure out who the hell Bobby Bradley is type of year. Yeah. We need to make a decision on this man if he is the future at first base, or if we got to start looking elsewhere, because Bradley's been up. He's a hitting machine down in the minor leagues. He's unstoppable down in the minor leagues, but it seemed the couple times they did bring him up for games, he didn't do as well as some of the other guys they brought up. I'll continue to say it. Is Bradley Zimmer ever going to be himself again? Because he looked like he was going to be a star. Naquin's gone. That's a miss.
Bradley Zimmer, the only thing with him is he's a great player. He's big. He's got the speed. He's got the power. He's got the arm, but he's just injury prone.
Yeah, and we need him to kind of get over that. They need him, I should say.
Yeah, I guess you could say we need him too.
Cue Daryl Ryder in the head.
You guys aren't a part of the organization.
Yeah.
You can't say that. You can't say we until you get a paycheck from them.
Ryder's
You sign that contract.
Ryder's probably rolling over right now. You got a hat on. I got a shirt on. We're over here saying we.
Right.
I mean, you've got the shirt. You got a shirt on too. More banjo. That's an Indians thing too, ain't it?
No, it's Bela Fleck, I believe.
Bela Fleck. All right.
They played here before everything. Oh, speaking of playing here, March 9th, 2021, today, the day we record, 1 year anniversary of the last time there was a show in this venue before the shutdown.
Yeah, we're
It's been
getting
1 year, 365 days.
1 year, and we're sitting in here and it's empty and it's eerie, and people don't think about it too much. That just kind of like what a place like this is going through.
Right. And you think about the electricity, the energy that this place would have on a Friday, Saturday, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then now it's just
The only noise in this motherfucker is two voices.
two guys talking about sports.
Two guys talking about sports and the occasional visit from birds and whatever else we get.
All right.
we get on the show.
All right, so we're going to move on to this day in sports history, but we will continue talking about baseball. So, March 9th, 1897, the Cleveland Indians fans started calling the team Indians for the first official time. And then in 1915, it became the official name of the Cleveland Indians, which is ironic because next year there will be no Cleveland Indians, which is a shame, but that's how it goes.
I was going to say, we've had the name for 100 and some years. We were unofficially called it for 20 some years, apparently. But by all means, it's a problem in 20.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Yeah, I don't watch baseball. I don't live in Cleveland, but it's a big problem. I got a problem with it. It offends me. I'm a white guy. It offends me.
Man, there was one problem centered around Native American names, and they got rid of it already.
Right? They're called the football team now.
Yeah, they got rid of it already.
All right, so the second this day in sports history, March 9th, 1995, baseball awards a franchise to Tampa Bay, giving them the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Went to the World Series last year. Like I say, my second team. So two big things happen almost 100 years apart. On the same day, 100 years apart.
Almost 100 years apart. How do you feel they're going to be this year?
They got rid of Snell.
Yeah.
Which was it was a stupid move. They did get, I don't understand their whole reasoning behind getting Chris Archer back, who has been on a steady decline, even before they traded him to the Pirates.
I was going to say he was trash and they traded him. I don't know why. Like, he did a little bit in Pittsburgh, but he really hasn't been that good. When they traded Snell, I was lost. First of all, he's your best guy. Second of all, he's already under contract. Like, he got money.
When they pulled him in Game 7, I was
and maybe
confused.
that's why they ended up trading him. Maybe Snell was so pissed at that it fractured the relationship, and he could not pitch for Kevin Cash anymore. And so maybe that's what it was, and he had to go. But the Padres are all in, man.
Yeah, the Padres are looking. They are looking mighty fierce this year. And my apologies, I didn't mean Game 7. I meant Game 6. I always go to Game 7 because I permanently am scarred from 2016.
It's a source of distress and scar, and it was here. It was down the street from us.
I watched it right there.
Yeah, you were here. I was at home, but it was down the street. It was the same year the Cavs won, so you thought that magic was in the air, and then the magic happened, and then it's just, we're not gonna go down the memory. So.
No need to. We talk about it too much, and it physically
it just hurts, right?
Angers me. Yeah. All right. So that was this day in sports history. Like I said, two of my favorite franchises. What would that be? That'd be
1895 to
1897 to 1995. So that would be
98 years?
98 years. 98 years
Yeah.
between each other. It's pretty wild, but that's, a lot of people didn't know that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here for this day in sports history.
It's pretty wild, but that's this day in sports history. You got anything else for me, my man?
Hey, you can follow me on Twitter at ETHSimpsonCGOD. You can follow me on Instagram at ETHSimpson.
You can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at BWardCLE. Follow me on Instagram at B.Ward52. That's my football number. Go ahead and follow the podcast on Twitter at PodcastGiven. Instagram, Any Given Podcast. Facebook.com/Any Given Podcast. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in to this installment of Any Given Podcast. You have a wonderful rest of your week.
God bless and stay blessed.